What's up, everyone? It's Dave from the Medal of Honor channel, and this is the first episode of 6 Records, or any of my shows actually, for the beginning of 2021. Yeah, I thought I'd just try and keep it on the fun side and keep in with lists that are, something that everybody can kind of get into, simple stuff, and just try and brighten the mood now that we're getting out of 2020 and what a shit show that was. Let's hope that 2021 can be a lot more fun, entertaining. I am trying a different camera out. I'm not really sure how the resolution is going to work until I get on my computer and edit this. But anyway, so if it looks a little different at home, that's why. So anyway, let's get started. What I'm going to do is 6 records with amazing guitar duos. Now I'm really leaning more towards 2 people that do leads, at least in some aspect anyway. So I'll show you what I mean, because I'm actually starting off with probably of those things the most questionable. But I'm going to talk about first Metallica at number 6 with the Master of Puppets album. Now the reason why I say questionable is only because they're more known for Kirk Hammett playing leads and James of course doing just a riff god. But on this album we definitely saw more of James doing some leads here and there, especially on Orion. They just do a beautiful job of kind of playing off of each other. And I think as a team, Kirk and James do a really great job of this. Even this, everyone really knows well the intro to Welcome Home Sanitarium, and James playing the clean part with the very memorable lead that Kirk plays in the intro of the song. So just really great. Probably one of the greatest metal albums of all time, if not the best. So number 6, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Number 5, we're going to keep a couple of these in the thrash metal big 4 and go with Slayer. This is South of Heaven album. Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman really, when I first got into Slayer, I kind of thought that they really weren't that great guitar players. I thought that maybe they were just going to the studio and just recording any kind of random noise. It almost sounds like this. Some of their leads are so chaotic, until I saw them live and realized that they can actually duplicate those leads note for note. So that suddenly made them very impressive in my eyes. So really interesting to just a very unorthodox style of playing for the leads, but I guess that's what makes them unique. I mean, a Kerry King lead when you hear it, and of course, just having these guys fit that category more as far as both being amazing lead guitarists. And really love the intro on South of Heaven when they do the harmony guitar leads. Just a very spooky, eerie sound to it, which of course is a great way to open up any Slayer album. So this one, of course, is one of my favorite albums. Even has the Judas Priest cover on here of Dissident Aggressor, and that beginning of South of Heaven, you hear that influence of the dual guitar harmonies. So I love this album so much. Great album. Number 5, Slayer, South of Heaven. At number 4, I'm keeping with the big 4, and this will be the last of those, but one of the greatest thrash albums of all time, Megadeth, Rust in Peace. Now, before this, we already knew that Dave Mustaine was, of course, a hell of a lead guitar player, not only in earlier Megadeth stuff, but the fact that, he pretty much wrote most of the first Metallica album, and, he was the lead player for that. But then add to that Marty Friedman, who was already well known as an amazing lead guitarist doing solo projects, and this was the perfect lineup here for Megadeth. I think most Megadeth fans would say that this was the ultimate lineup that they had. Dave Ellison, of course, amazing on bass. Nick Menza, an incredible drummer. But this album just altogether was kick-ass. So much so that, aside from Mustaine's own biography, he actually recently wrote a book that's strictly about the recording of this album. This is their grand opus. I think everyone would agree with that. Other than Peace Sells is, of course, also a killer album. But this one, just really, the guitar playing is phenomenal, and both guys doing their parts on it. So number 4, Megadeth, Rust in Peace. At number 3, I've praised this album over and over again so many times, and I'm going to do it again right here. Queensryche, Rage for Order. I mean, you want to talk about amazing dual guitar players who just feed off of each other and do beautiful harmonies. I'd be hard-pressed to say anybody who does it as well as Queensryche. And actually, I would put this at my actual number one, except that the other two bands that I'm going to talk about really have just earned the respect to be at the top two spots. But that being said, Chris DeGarmo and Michael Wilton, on all Queensryche stuff, they just did amazing stuff together. It's really quite a shame that Chris DeGarmo isn't in the band anymore, because this album especially, you know, I've praised the song London on here. I mean, they have a lot of, the whole album is amazing, but that song in particular, the two guitar players bounce back and forth, slightly overlapping on their leads until they do this great build-up with their harmony leads. It blends right into a really high-pitched note that Jeff Tate is hitting. It's just, I'd have to say it's moving, actually. It's really that good. But the whole album is just phenomenal. Still love this. I always will. So yeah, actually, number 3, gotta put Queensryche, Rage for Order. Now, like I said, the last two spots, I mean, they've earned it, and I think you probably know where I'm going to go with this when it comes to, just the most iconic dual guitar players in heavy metal bands. And so let's go with number 2, Iron Maiden. You could have chosen a lot of their albums, of course, but I'm going with Powerslave this time. I mean, you got Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Flash of the Blades, the song Powerslave, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. So much good stuff on here, and Iron Maiden really built their sound on their harmony leads that, well, actually, their harmony guitar parts that were the main riffs. They were able to build that on top of Steve Harris's chug that they're kind of known for, and his bass playing really gives them a lot of foundation that they're able to do some of these kind of harmony guitar parts. These guys are masters of it, and it's kind of really the basis of all their music. So yeah, I think they definitely earned their spots. Number 2, Iron Maiden, Powerslave. And finally, you probably can guess who I'm going to go with number 1. It's not Rush, like most of my lists have, but I think it's a band that we all know has earned this as far as just legendary dual guitar players in metal. And that is Judas Priest. This is the Screamin' for Vengeance album. I mean, the intro of this one, the Hellion, going into the Electric Eye, I mean, it's so phenomenal and so well known in their catalog that to this day they still tend to use that as their intro on their live shows. The harmony guitars on that, on the Hellion, is just so powerful. It's very triumphant sounding. It's kind of announcing the coming of the metal gods. So it is the perfect intro, and I think it's one of the things that makes this band and this album the perfect to put at number 1. There was a lot of other bands I could have gone with. I could have gone with more rock-ish, and I would have included Aerosmith because Joe Perry and Brad Whitford, of course, are a great team. But I wanted to keep it more on the metal side this time, so maybe I'll do one sometime that's more hard rock records. But as far as classic metal, I think these guys definitely earned that. So number 1, definitely got to be Judas Priest, Screamin' for Vengeance. Alright, with that, let's just count them down real quick. Number 6, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Number 5, Slayer, South of Heaven. Number 4, Megadeth, Rust in Peace. Number 3, Queensryche, Rage for Order. Number 2, Iron Maiden, Powerslave. And the number 1 album with amazing guitar duels is Judas Priest, Screamin' for Vengeance. You know what? It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but this is my list, and so hope you dig it. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, so let me know if you want. Put it down in the comments and tell me what your list would be. And until next time, keep your horns up. Keep it down.